Guys. All right, everybody, welcome back. We got a special guest on the Nikki and Fitz podcast. Sophomore Carter Braun, University of Georgia. Carter, tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy.
Uh, I'm just a 19-year-old kid attending University of Georgia. I'm a sophomore here. Uh, Big fan of Fernando, family friend.
What are you studying there at Georgia, Carter?
Just got into the business school. I'm studying finance and I'm getting a certificate in sports media as well.
Good.
How did you decide on Georgia? How did you decide to attend there?
I wanted to go to like a bigger school and I obviously wanted a good football team. So I saw them win two national championships in a row and I thought it was a lock we'd get a third one, but
Right.
freshman year didn't go as planned, so hopefully this is the year.
You
All
got
right.
hosed. The committee had it wrong. At least they didn't pick FSU.
Anyone but FSU.
Carter
Shout
was
out
at the
Bob
game.
McClure.
Nikki, Carter was at the FSU Georgia
Oh,
game.
you went to the Orange Bowl?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hooked him up with Palms. Eric took care of him on some tickets too. How were those seats, Carter?
They were amazing, yeah. It was a very fun game. It would have been more fun if it actually meant something, but
Right, right. All right,
yeah.
let's get going. Nikki, Heisman Trophy update.
All right. So we're not in the home stretch, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
This award's going to be given out December 14th in New York City, so about 45 days.
yeah,
So I guess the big story, overarching story, is Travis Hunter appears to be healthy. I
yeah.
mean,
He's playing.
he
Yeah,
played a fair amount
he did.
last week against Cincinnati. 9 catches, 153 yards, two touchdowns, 4 passes broken up. I think he's the front runner.
I agree. I think him. I think Dylan Gabriel is starting to catch some good vibrations about this thing.
He's
I think
the Dylan Gabriel's now the odds-on leader to win it.
Oh, he
You
is?
think?
Okay. So there you
Yeah,
Okay.
go. I
which
mean, Cam Ward had a flat game against Florida State, but I mean, they had nothing to play for. Florida State's terrible. He was just kind of coasting through that game. I love Genty, man. I know he's not going to get it. I don't think. I don't think he plays in a big enough conference. But man, that guy, I watched that game Friday night. He plays hard. He runs
Right.
hard.
yeah.
He's violent at attack. I mean, he is fast. He's everything you want in a good running back. I called that early. We talked about that. I liked him. He reminded me of Barry Sanders, as he reminds me of. Um, but guys like Ewers, Milrow, Nussmeier had 5 interceptions this weekend. They're done, right? They're out of the
Yeah,
conference.
I think those three can go off the board. Carter, what do you think about this
Uh,
Heisman thing?
I think it's a four-man race at this point between Gabriel, Ward, Hunter, and Genty. I think it should be between Genty and Hunter at this point, but you know how it is with quarterbacks and awards, and
Yeah,
it
agreed.
just tends to go that way. But I really like Ashton Genty, and if his worst game this season is 128 yards and a touchdown, then I don't get why he wouldn't win it. But
That is
Travis
his
is
worst
great.
game. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's had 200 plus at pretty much every other game.
Oh yeah.
Travis Hunter to me is the best player in college football. Period.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But the last guy like that to win it was Charles Woodson, right at Michigan. It was the last one, kind of oddball winner, right, Nikki?
Yeah, I don't think Woodson played as much both ways as much as this guy did.
He did
Like
though.
my
He did
memory is
though.
that Woodson played defensive back,
He
and then
played some
he
receiver.
played offense some, but
Yeah.
not in the way he does.
No, Hunter's playing every play.
Yeah.
All right. What about the playoffs? It's really starting to tighten up. And I think the committee comes out, I think, this Sunday with like their first bracket, right?
Mhm.
So we're taking it right now off the AP rankings. Um, we got the 8-9 game A&M against Indiana, which would be an interesting game at A&M. I think Indiana's going to sneak in. but I got a feeling they're going to get throttled whoever they play because they're going to play some Southeastern Conference team that's just going to beat the shit out of them. Texas against Boise in the 7-10 game. I got Ohio State against Clemson. I think that would make a great game.
Yeah,
Oh
there's some
yeah,
bad blood between those teams.
Yeah,
oh yeah, I think that Clemson team's really good. I mean,
yeah, they're good.
besides our whooping of them in game one, I think that they've won every game by double digits or so, and they Klubnik's looked great.
Yeah, he's woken up. There's no
Mhm.
doubt. And then the 5-12 game, Penn State versus Tennessee. What a great game that would be,
Mm,
man. In Happy Valley, holy shit. And the 1 seeds Oregon, 2 seeds Georgia, 3 seeds Miami, and 4 seeds BYU, who I'm really impressed with, man.
uh-huh.
They kind of blew my bubble this week. And so undefeated teams. Oregon, Penn State, Miami, Iowa State, BYU, Indiana, Pittsburgh, and Army. So here we go. Week 9 update, Nick. Go ahead.
Okay.
Give us some
So,
updates on what went down because some of these I'm calling this week let the big dogs hunt because the big boys just smashed some teams this week.
right.
Like they were like, okay, we're done playing games with you guys.
So, Indiana was hosting Washington, and they used a different quarterback, but the story was the same.
Yeah,
Defense
easily.
solid. They ran they ran an interception, I think, back for a touchdown. And they beat Washington, and they haven't. We're in November on Saturday or Friday, I guess, and they haven't trailed this whole year.
That's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's that kid Kamara, that defensive tackle for them is an NFL player. I mean, he is
yeah,
a house. He
right.
is hard to block.
I'm a huge fan of their coach too.
Yeah, of course,
I mean,
everyone is. Yeah,
he
nobody
wins.
knew him
Yeah.
until this year, but now everyone loves him.
Google him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. The Notre Dame, which I thought Navy would they would play him tough, just throttled. I just saw the highlights of that game before we came on. Notre Dame was just too much for them, man. They're they look pretty good, man. They're not in yet, but if they run the table, I think they're going to get in just because they're Notre Dame.
I
So
think so. I mean, they're playing really well.
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean
their
the
schedule
competition
sucks
isn't
though.
great. Yeah, the schedule's shitty.
I think that win over Texas A&M is going to be great for them though,
Yep, and they still
because
got Clemson, right? No, they got FSU and USC, right?
I
That's
think that's right. I think you have it
yeah.
right.
respectable. Don't play Clemson.
Mm-mm.
Um, and then Ohio State look uninspired. I watched that. Ole Miss uninspired. They barely won. Both of them just running. I hate teams that do that, man. When you're a good team and you play a crappy team, you're supposed to throttle them. Hang 50, 60 on them and move on. Don't take it easy because Ohio State's got Penn State this week, right? I
Right,
mean, Ole Miss has got to go into Arkansas. That's no joke.
That's
So
right.
the Kirby Smart special right there. Just I mean, Georgia did that with Kentucky this year and then went
yeah,
down, had a terrible first half against Bama the week after.
yeah.
So I just think that as important as it is to maybe try to preserve your playbook, I think it's even more important to just run up the score, give your starters some rest in the fourth quarter of the game, and just get some film to look at. I'm
It's
with you there.
it's a confidence builder too for the future games, man. When
Oh
when
yeah,
you limp by somebody, I mean, Nebraska had a chance to win that game. Those are goal line stand there against the Ohio State held Nebraska, or they may win that game. I mean, and Nebraska got throttled by Indiana the week before, so I don't know what to make of it. I we'll see what happens this weekend though. And Florida State, they're like done, right? I mean, they're so embarrassing.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah. I mean, is Norvell gone too? What do you guys think? You think Norvell's gone at the end of the year?
Carter, why don't you go first?
I think you give him another year or so. I don't think you can fire him after going pretty much undefeated in the regular season the year before. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
everyone left him. all these transfers and stuff. DJU is terrible. He is
Terrible.
awful.
Yeah.
And I think they're starting Brock Glenn now, who was like their third, fourth string last year. So, but all these recruits are flipping to Miami, flipping to Florida. I mean, you know how bad the state of Florida has it right now, where these recruits have to decide between whether they want to play for the Gators or the Seminoles. I would
I
feel
think they're
bad for
going to
them.
end up at Georgia, Bama, or Miami.
Oh yeah.
I think Florida's going to lose a bunch of guys. Florida State should lose a bunch of guys. I personally think Norvell will get another year, but they're going to suck next year too. So
Mhm.
it doesn't really matter. And then you got Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. That whole state's in disarray, man. I mean, Oklahoma's terrible. I think Venables is going to get fired, actually.
It's possible.
I
Yeah,
see that. Yeah.
yeah, I think he's done. And then BYU, I mean, I saw a bunch of games. I was at my in-laws this weekend. So all I did was watch football all day Saturday. BYU is impressive, man. And their
Mhm.
quarterback is no joke. He's a little guy, but he's fast. He can throw, he can run. He's a leader. He plays, looks like he's playing hurt. He gets banged up. Did you guys see any of that BYU UCF game?
He's one of three Jewish kids on campus, their quarterback.
At BYU?
They call him the BY Jew. No kidding.
Well, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I don't care what his religion is. I care about his football ability, and he's legit. I don't know if he's a pro prospect, but he's definitely a legit college prospect. Did you see any of that, Nikki?
I saw a little bit of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with their defense. They got the defensive tackle Taggart, the linebacker Kelly. I mean, these guys are good players. I
Yeah,
remember watching them in September at SMU, and they beat SMU and they haven't lost. I mean, they haven't lost at all this year.
right.
Like we're now into November, so you get anybody who's still standing is damn good.
Yeah, right, right. And then A&M, I mean, destroyed LSU in the second half. LSU is a bunch of pretenders. As usual, Brian Kelly, no defense, finally reared its ugly head again. And then Pitt Cuse. I mean, everyone loved Cuse. Cuse was the darling pick. Let's pick Cuse on Thursday night. And Pitt beat the shit out of him.
I think McCord had like three pick sixes. Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I mean, I was following it on my phone, finishing up some homework. I just had to throw that out there because I know my dad and mom are going to be watching this. So had to let them know that I'm getting some schoolwork done. But I look at my phone and it's 21-0 with like 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter. I was looking forward to that being a game, but
Yeah,
it's
no
absolutely
game,
killed them.
no game.
Yeah.
And then Bama, Missouri's done. They're finished. They're pretenders as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
And
done.
their quarterback's done. So now they're in
Right.
trouble. And then Colorado, which I really liked last week, looked really good. I think it could be them and BYU in the Big 12 championship game.
That would be fun.
Yeah, yeah. That Colorado team, I think Prime's starting to figure out how to do it. So let's go over the picks. Nick, you were 12-8, man. Unbelievable, great week. Now you've cracked the Mendoza line at 79 and 79.
Jeez.
I went 15 and 5 2 weeks ago, and this week I went 5 and 15. So it just shows you how hard it is.
Right.
I'm not saying anything, but I'm 97 and 77 for the year, which is a nice record. Not
Damn
great,
right.
but nice winning. But it's hard to pick them, man, because teams surprise you. It's not quite the NFL where anyone can win any game, but we're playing with point spreads too. We're not just picking winners, so it's a little
Right.
more difficult. I like the under in the Pitt first game. I like the under in the Pitt Cuse. You as well like the under, Nick. That played the under played 41-13 Pitt. Boise laying 2.5. I like them. You like them. They won 29-24. That was a fun game to watch. That went back and forth. And then we both like the under in the Rutgers USC game. And Rutgers, I mean, USC just crushed them 42 20.
Yeah,
Rutgers, I think, may be done, boys.
right.
I think they're staring another 6-6. I was high on them early, but I think everyone's figured them out a little bit. Just stack the box and try to make the quarterback throw on you, and he can't throw the ball.
Right.
Um, Navy, Notre Dame. We both like Navy. We both took the L
I
there.
liked Navy there too.
Yeah. Yeah, man, 13 and a half is a lot of points, and they're a good team. They're not like terrible, but Notre
Yeah.
Dame really woke up and smashed them. That's what you have to do. You beat the shit out of those teams. Um, I liked Ohio State smashing Nebraska, thinking they're going to make a statement. You like Nebraska, Nikki. You said it's a lot of points. It's kind of like the West Virginia WVU. I think Nebraska plays with them, and they did, and they should have won the game, but they lost, but definitely covered. And then I got off the Indiana bandwagon for a minute and took a beating for it. You
Yeah,
were on
I did the
Indiana.
same thing the week before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get off the Indian bandwagon for no
No,
really reason.
no, they're rolling.
Just keep your hands and feet inside the car at all times.
Yeah. Ole Miss, I like them against Oklahoma, throttling them. They're pretenders. They beat them, but I mean, Oklahoma has nothing. I mean, they literally
Right.
they are terrible. And you took Oklahoma thinking they're gonna 20 was too many points. You were right. They only lost by 12. I talked you into Temple. I thought ECU with a new coach would
Hey,
would
that's all right. Yeah.
would not be very good, but they hung 56 on Temple, crushed them. I like Missouri 13 and a half, thinking, I played all these pretenders thinking they're legitimate teams, and they all
Right.
got throttled by the big
Right.
boys. Bama
Right.
throttles them 34-0. You took the under. That was a good pick. We both took Iowa. They throttled Northwestern. I like the Illini, and you like the under 21 and a half points, and Oregon's legit, man. Did you guys watch any of that
I
game?
did not, but I was kind of shocked by
Did you watch any
how
of that,
easy they
Carter?
beat them.
I caught a little bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
I I think Oregon's pretty good, man.
Their defense looks really good.
Yeah,
I actually had Illinois. I took like a live spread of Illinois to cover like a 20 point spread or something, and it was
yeah,
over by the first half. I
yeah. It
mean,
was light, right? 20's not
Oregon's
enough.
defense looks really good.
Yeah. Um, I loved UCF, Nick. I think I talked you into that. I wasn't sure if you had an opinion on that game, but BYU throttled UCF. I watched a lot of that. I was pretty impressed. Love Maryland. They got killed, embarrassed by Mini by 25. You like the under there, but Mini just ran it up on Maryland. Maryland's defense was nothing,
Right.
non-existent. Both like Miami, they covered by half a point.
Right.
Unbelievable how that happens, a half a freaking point.
Right.
And FSU got that late touchdown, which scared the shit out of me because I wasn't sure it was a half. Um, I like Wisconsin, thought they would play them tough. Penn State loses their quarterback, goes to the second stringer who hasn't played all year, and still pull out a good win, man. I thought that was impressive. I watched a lot of that as well. You guys,
I like their backup quarterback
you
a
do.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good.
He, I mean, he gets in. He kind of plays their like Taysom Hill role a little bit
Oh, he
as like
does the running role?
they'll
Yeah.
play him like 10, 15 snaps a game just as like
Okay.
a read option guy. And so, I mean, I didn't know he could throw the way that he ended up being able to. And
Yeah.
I
I did think that Whiskey would be fired up at home. They were for the first half, and then they just fizzled out. It just not enough, man. I mean, Penn State's defense is pretty fucking elite. I mean, they're
Right.
really good. It's going to
I,
be interesting this week against Ohio State.
I think Abdul Carter is one of the best players in the country too.
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
edge rusher.
yeah,
He's amazing.
yeah. He's tough. LSU, I took them. Another pretender.
I took them. I loved them. I
I
loved
know.
them.
2.5 points at A&M. I thought, all right, LSU is going to step up here. And A&M looks pretty good, man. I watched some of that game, and they throttled LSU in the second half. I mean, it was a no contest.
Yeah, they
Kelly,
made that quarterback switch.
they did make the quarterback switch, and he's pretty good. I mean, and I don't think that's a one-game switch, to be honest with you. I think that kid may be their starter. We'll see this week, and then the lock of the week was Michigan State getting 5. And they were in that game. They were in it, and at the end they had driven it down to like the 20-yard line or something, 18-yard line, and they threw it. They didn't score. So
Right.
Michigan's just finding ways to win, man. They're not very good either. They don't have much of an offense, but they're finding ways to win through defense, special teams, and Michigan's. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this week against Oregon, but we'll have to talk about that game because.
Right.
I think they're going to be okay defensively. They're pretty good. Love K-State, Nick. You like the under? We both missed. The over-under was 55.5. It was
Yeah,
56 points. Unbelievable.
right.
Unbelievable how Vegas hits that. And K-State barely won, 29-27. Really liked Duke this week, getting 11.5 at home. And they played SMU tough, but SMU beat them 28-27. And then we both like Colorado big, and they won big 34-23. So
All right.
all right, we're ready to go. Carter, you ready to get your picks going?
Of course.
Let's go, boys. All right. This week 10, and the games aren't as juicy as they've been. This is kind of I wouldn't call it a down week, but they're not a bunch of great games, but there is a couple really elite games, right? All
And
right.
hopefully we can make some money.
Yes. Exactly. I hit on 2 trifectas last week, by the way. I made $350 last week. So I was pretty psyched.
That
All
would
right.
probably multiply my bank account by 350 times.
So you got a buck in there?
Maybe $1.50.
All right. We'll jump between Nikki and Carter with the first pick. So Nick, you go first. Duke
Okay.
get 21.5 at the U.
Wait a minute. There's no. I thought there was a Thursday night game. Huh. I guess
Is
I
there a
missed
Thursday
it.
night game?
No. Duke getting 21.5 at Miami
Yeah,
with an over-under of 54.5.
54.5. Yep. Go ahead, Nikki. It's your pick.
Duke.
Duke. Okay. Carter, what do you say?
I like that too. I have Duke plus 21.5. I think Miami keeps games close. I'm not that high on Miami. Obviously, their offense is good, but not a big fan of their defense.
I think they're going to get that first round bye in the playoffs, and then anything can happen, man. They are skating by, and the Clemson game in the AC Championship will show me a lot. If they lose that, I don't think they even make the playoffs, to be honest with you, because the schedule's been kind of weak.
Mhm.
But if they beat Clemson, they're in as the three seed. So I think they beat Duke here, but I do not think they cover. That's a lot of points. So I'll take Duke as well. Right out of the gate, game of the week this week, boys, in State College, Pennsylvania. Go ahead,
I
Carter. What do you
Okay,
say,
so
man?
I think putting this game at noon is terrible.
Terrible.
It's
Terrible.
the Big Ten always does this with their big games. They did it with
About cash. About
earlier.
cash, Carter.
I don't get how they could make money not putting that game at 7:30, but I have Penn State winning outright actually.
Money
So
line. Nice.
yeah, I'm a big fan of Penn State. One of my best friends from back home goes there, and it's going to be electric this weekend.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. The
I
12
think
o'clock game is tough, though, because I was at the 12 o'clock UCLA game, and people start drinking at 6, 7 in the morning. I was there with your old man.
Mhm.
And it's just tough, man. It's hard to drink at 6, 7 in the morning and get fired up for a game because when you walk in the game, you're drunk and it's middle of the day. It's going to be electric because it's Ohio State. But if that game was at night, I would like Penn State a lot more than I do.
I definitely think that yeah, that's a good point, but I think they've been frauds for so long. They haven't been able to beat the big dogs. It kind of reminds me of Michigan, Ohio State when Michigan had lost like 9 in a row and they finally got it done. Just
Yeah.
I think the electricity is just going to be there.
Okay, Nikki, what do you think? What do you say?
I like the under 46.5.
All right, and I'm gonna double bet this. I love the under, and I'm gonna go Ohio State. Sorry, Carter. I think Ohio State wakes up, shows up. Their defense is not as good as Penn State's defense is so legitimate. I mean, they're really good up defensively. I think Ohio State just has a lot of horses, man. They kind of own Penn State. I think it's more psychological at this point because I think they both have great talent. But Ryan Day needs to win this game. They lose
in
this
a big
game.
way.
I don't think he's going to lose his job. If he does, Maryland should hire him like the next day when he loses the job. But if he loses this game, they're going to go insane in Columbus. He can't lose. I mean,
I, I would actually venture to say that it's a must win for both coaches because James
wow.
Franklin hasn't had a big win in his life.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. But I don't mean if they go 11-1, Penn State, they're in the playoffs and Franklin's fine. Franklin has a lot of tenure there. I think Franklin's fine. I think they're happy, going 10-2, 11-1. Ohio State, they're not happy unless they win a national championship or playing for a national championship. So it's a different kind of pressure, I think, on those guys. All right, third game. I'll pick first this time. And I really like Illinois here. I think they're being really disrespected. I mean, Minnesota played Maryland tough and beat the shit out of them, but it's freaking Maryland, man. I think Illinois is a lot better than Maryland. So I like Illinois here. What do you think, Nick?
I'm going to join you on the Fighting Illini. I'm going to take them +3.
Okay. Harder.
Same with me. Clean sweep all around.
All right.
Okay. All right. Ole Miss getting laying 7 at Arkansas, another home underdog. Carter, what do you say?
I think Ole Miss actually covers this. I think that they're gonna wake up a little bit. I mean, they're definitely the more talented team,
Yeah.
but again, this could be a situation where they're frauds, and I mean, I know that they're frauds, but I think they get by more than seven.
I know they're frauds too. Nikki, what do you say?
Um, this is another game, like Carter was saying, that shouldn't be at 12 noon. It's no good.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon with you guys. I think Old Miss plays a solid game this week, and I like Arkansas. I like Sam Pittman. I like the way they play, but I'm gonna go with Old Miss here.
And I'm going to go with Arkansas. I think they
Okay.
play him tight.
Okay.
I think Sam Pittman needs this win badly to keep his
Okay.
job. And I think Lane Kiffin's on his way out the door there. I don't think he's going to get fired, but I think he leaves for a better job because he's a carpetbagging
Right.
asshole.
You should
Not
go
a
to
big,
Temple or Maryland, right?
no, we don't want Lane Kiffin. We're good. All right, Nikki. Vanderbilt getting 7 at Auburn.
I mean, is Vanderbilt the better team here?
I think they are.
I thought it was a typo or something when I first saw it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, give me the Commodores +7.
Yeah. At Auburn.
Right.
All
I
right,
mean,
Carter.
Auburn played well last week. Hunter had over 200 yards rushing, but still, I think Vandy's the better team.
I agree. Carter, what do you say?
I think Vandy wins this one outright, but I'll take their +7.
On the money line.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't really get this line. Auburn's not that great of a team. They have Jarquez Hunter, who's good, but I just don't think they're that good. I don't get this line at all.
They're not well coached either.
Mm-mm.
I will join you guys on Vandy. I'm not jumping away from that. I mean, that's a ridiculous line. I mean, and we've seen some of these lines that are ridiculous sometimes, and we're like, hmm. The other thing is that, the Vegas guys, they have the insider on who's hurt, who's not going to play, what's going on. Someone's got girlfriend problems. They have all the insight that we do not have. So
Mhm.
maybe that's why that line's so stinky. But man, what I've seen with my own eyes, they're a lot better than Auburn. So Auburn couldn't even beat Oklahoma. So that should tell you something in Auburn. All
Yeah.
right. Is Indiana laying 7.5 at Michigan State. 51 points. I'm gonna go first here, and I'm gonna take the under here. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think Indiana beats them though, but I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, I've got Indiana covering this spread -7.5. They've won every game by double digits this year, and I
Yep.
think they'll continue to do that. Yeah. MSU's not very good.
No.
Maryland should have won that game too.
Yeah. No, let's not talk about it. Nikki, what do you say?
I'm gonna jump on the under 51 here.
Okay. Hang on. All right. Another great tilt here. Oregon 14.5 point favorites at Michigan. What do you say, Carter?
I mean, Alex Braun will be in attendance, my twin brother.
Yes, he
All
will.
right.
Sydney Braun, who just graduated from there last year, will be watching on TV.
Yes.
So I think it would be wrong if I didn't take Michigan to get
Yeah.
14.5. Yeah.
You don't want to be thrown out of the family, right?
No.
Nikki, what do you say, man?
Man, I'm gonna take Oregon given the points.
Okay. They're good. They're really good. They're really good.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna take Michigan. I think they keep it close at home.
All right.
I don't think they win, but I think it's a close game.
All right.
K-State 13.5 at Houston. What do you
The
say,
Houston
Nick?
Cougars. I'll take the under here, under 46.5.
Under?
Yeah.
Okay, Carter.
I like the over in this game, actually. I think Houston's defense is terrible.
Okay. And I like K-State here. I think K-State's going to throttle them. Houston's terrible. All right. The prime game of the week, the road trip game of the week, Florida getting 16.5 versus Georgia in Jacksonville. Carter, have you heard stories about that? I know this is your second year at Georgia. You haven't been to the game yet. Have you had any buddies who have gone to tell you how it went?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's obviously a great time down there, and they just announced actually today that in 2026 and 2027 they're changing up the venues because they're doing construction in Jacksonville, and so it's going to be in like Atlanta and Tampa, even
Okay.
though Kirby Smart wanted a home and home, and Billy Napier came out and kind of went at Kirby Smart and said home and home would be stupid. So I think Kirby Smart just takes every little thing personally,
He does.
and
He does.
especially from
So
an
angry.
like Billy Napier who sucks at his job.
Billy Napier's out of a job at the end of the year, so he won't even be at that game. So don't worry.
I think UGA might win by 100.
You do.
I mean, they're definitely covering this spread. I think that it's Lagway's first start against a ranked team, and
For Florida?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Florida's terrible. Napier's going to be fired at the end of the year, so you don't have to worry about ever seeing him again. What do you say, Nick, on this one?
You guys convinced me. I'm going to take Georgia and give a boatload of points.
Now, Nick, you
Oh,
went
yeah.
to University of Jacksonville, right?
Right.
And did you go attend this game, or were you
No,
around?
no, I was there for the fanfare for the arrival of the RVs. I guess starting on Wednesday, out at the beaches, Neptune Beach, Jacksonville Beach, Fletcher Beach, all those places.
Yeah.
Then around the Gator Bowl, then it's a lot of alumni from both schools live in Jacksonville, and it's not far to get to from any of those places.
Right.
So yeah, it's a great road trip and a great place to see a game, and hopefully when they bump up the seating in the I guess it's the Jacksonville, what it used to be called the Gator Bowl, it'll be even better.
Yeah, we're gonna go
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
That's the plan is to go next year. Carter's
All
gonna
right.
host us. We're gonna pay for everything.
Yeah.
Carter's gonna host us. It's
All
gonna be
right.
perfect. So Nikki, who do you like?
I'm gonna go with the Gators. I mean, I'm sorry, the Bulldogs. Bulldogs
Bulldogs. Okay.
minus 16 and a half. Ooh,
And I'm gonna also go with Georgia. I think they kill him. I
Smart
think
call.
Georgia's just gonna be
Yeah.
like, get out of my face, Billy Napier. And now that he gave Kirby some bulletin material, he's done. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
Kirby's going crazy right now about it.
it's just it was really like the slightest of thing. Just simply disagreeing with Kirby Smart is enough to just set that man off.
Right. Yeah, he's an angry elf. There's no
I
doubt.
mean, I
right.
walking to classes every day. He's got a megaphone by the practice fields. I hear him, "Hey, Carson Beck, what the fuck was that?" Just pardon my language, sorry, but he's just screaming that at like 10 in the morning, and it's like, I mean, he's everyone on this campus would die for him, and
Right. He's legit. He's an
yeah.
alum. He's legit.
Oh yeah.
All right, Nikki. UNC getting 2.5. I mean, laying 2.5 at FSU. Free shoes.
Man, Florida State has only won one game this year.
Right.
They beat Cal,
And they should have lost.
and they should have lost that one. Man, I gotta take the under 50 and a half here. I don't see how Florida State puts up a lot of points.
Yeah. And I'm gonna take UNC.
Okay.
I think they're gonna beat them badly.
I'm gonna take UNC as well. I don't. Again, UNC's 4-4. They had a big win against Virginia last week, but I just don't get how any team could only be favored by 2 points against Florida State. I mean, they are bad.
Right. And
So,
UNC is not very good. They can score, and that's about it.
yeah,
And that's enough. Because Florida
yeah.
State can't score. They can't do anything offensively. They're inept. All right, Arizona State getting 3 at Oklahoma State. I'm going to take Oklahoma State here at home. I think Stillwater, as I've said in the past, is a tough place to play. And Arizona State's just okay. So I think they get beat there. What do you say, Carter?
I've got the over 58.5 in this game. I think Ollie Gordon's healthy, right?
I don't know. I haven't
One
checked.
never knows.
He was banged up a couple of games ago, I know, but he and the Arizona State running back Cam Scatabo can just gash defenses. I think that both running backs could go over like 200 yards, and it could
Okay.
just be a touchdown every possession.
What do you think, Nikki?
Uh, I'm gonna go with under 58 and a half.
You love that under.
I love the under.
You love the under. All right. Louisville getting 10.5 at Clemson. What do you say, Carter?
I've got Clemson covering 10.5. They're a good team. They're a really good team.
Nikki, what do you think?
I'm gonna join Carter and take Clemson giving it a 10 and a half.
I am not. I think Louisville plays them tough. I don't think they beat them, but 10.5 is a lot, man. I think they could
Right.
lose by 10,
10 and a
actually.
half's a bucket of points, yeah.
Yeah, I think they could lose by 10. But I think Louisville can score. I mean, Clemson in this run hasn't really played anybody that can score, and Louisville can score, and I think they play them tough. But I don't think they win the game. So
Louisville scored a ton against Miami, right? If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
they
That
did.
game was
They
great.
did. All right, Nikki.
All right,
Um,
next man up on the chopping block. Wisconsin
Wisconsin.
Badgers +3 at visiting the Iowa Hawkeyes with a low over under 40 and a half. I'll go first and I'll take the Hawkeyes.
Good pick. Carter.
Ever since I've gotten into like sports betting and just lines and stuff, I see Iowa in a game, I immediately hit the under and don't think twice. So I'm gonna go under here.
They've been going over this year, though. You know
They've
that.
they've got a good running back.
They've been scoring
It-
some points this year.
I
I'm gonna double bet this Iowa and the over.
ooh,
All right.
I think they throttle Whiskey and I think they score 40, 45 points here on themselves. All right, Carter. USC, 2.5 point favorites at Washington at UW.
yeah, I have USC covering this. Both of these teams have been a little underwhelming this year, but I have
Yeah.
USC winning by more than three.
Okay. Nikki?
So, I mean, USC blew out Rutgers last weekend, and Rutgers and Washington was like a standstill. It was they,
Fourteen
um,
seven, I think was that final.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go with USC, given 2.5.
So I think what's Lincoln Riley's fighting for his job. I don't think he even gives a shit if he gets fired. He's the most uninspiring head coach, non-emotional. Just I would take 100 Kirby Smarts over 100 Lincoln Rileys, no matter how much of an offensive genius he is. That guy has like no pulse. I mean, what? He's terrible with all that talent they have. I am gonna say they lay an egg, and I'm gonna take Washington. I think they
Right.
lay an egg there
Yeah.
and Washington beats them because I think Judd Fish is going to get them up for this
Not a
game.
bad, not a bad way to play this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. All right, Nick. Texas A&M, two and a
At
half
South
point favorites
Carolina.
at South Carolina.
So, what do you guys think? I'm going to ask you both. Who
Hate those
shows
teams.
up, good South Carolina or bad South Carolina?
I think it'll be bad South Carolina personally, but I
Carter,
hate
what do you
Jake
think?
Beamer. I hate him with a
I
passion.
think a night game, like game of the week on ESPN, I think that South Carolina will show up. I have South Carolina winning this game outright.
Do you? Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
You think they come in a little inflated, A&M, after that win against LSU?
yeah, and I think this is kind of like a trap game in that way.
Yeah.
And South Carolina's no look over by
No,
any
no,
means.
no, no. They can play. Yeah, they
They've got
got
guys
dudes.
on both sides of the ball
They
that can
got
play.
dudes. I agree.
Okay,
Nikki, what do you think?
so I think good South Carolina shows up too, and I'll take them getting giving as the underdog 2.5.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take A&M. I think A&M
All right.
throttles them. I think A&M is for real.
I think with the quarterback change though, that could cause a little bit of, I mean, I think Marcel Reed, the original backup, is going to start this game for A&M, but
Have they gone the full? We're going with this guy now.
I think so.
Good,
And and I'll tell you what, even if they don't go with him and it's Wegman, he's going to be playing knowing that this dude's breathing on his neck. And I think South Carolina's just gonna find a way. They've got more film on this quarterback now, so it's not gonna be like LSU
right?
where the dude just ran all over them.
Yeah, but
Um,
LSU gave up as LSU is known to
as
do.
they tend to do, yeah.
Yeah, too much gumbo in the stomach. All right, Kentucky getting 16 and a half at Tennessee. This is the redneck Riviera. I mean, this is the fight. These two teams hate each other. They're both kind of been mediocre recently. Tennessee thinks they're okay. I'm gonna go here with Mark Stoops and the 16 and a half. I think they show up. I think they get beat, but I think they show up and Tennessee has not been impressive offensively. I mean, they started off strong against weak competition. Once the competition stiffened up, they seem to be just barely winning when they do win. So I'm going to go with Kentucky here at 16 and a half on the road. Nikki?
I'm going to join you. I'm going to take Mark Stoops hasn't. They haven't played a good game since South against South Carolina. I think they can play a good game here and cover.
Yeah, he needs a win or something impressive because he's on the hot seat as well. What do you think, say, Carter?
I'm gonna go with Kentucky as well. I Tennessee is my most hated team out of
Fair.
every FBS school. I hate their fans. I hate their players.
Yeah.
Last year, me and a buddy went to the me and like four of my friends drove up. My ex-girlfriend went to Tennessee, and we stayed with her. Went to the Tennessee Georgia game, and my friend, this was at Neyland Stadium. It's a great atmosphere. Um, My friend came in late. He was walking up the stands. First play of the game, Tennessee scores a 75-yard touchdown. They're cussing this kid out. They're throwing bottles at him as he's just walking up the stands like to get to us. I see this.
Rednecks, man.
Um,
The
I
hell?
mean, and he's just smiling. I mean, he's the biggest Georgia fan I know. He knows that we're gonna win by 30. And that's one of my favorite stories, just him
And
just getting hit with beer cans.
did
And
you
then
throttle them?
oh yeah, I think we won like 30-7. I think that was like their only points of the game or something. And then later in the game, one thing I'd say about Neyland Stadium is it's always loud for the first half, and then the second half they all leave. We went down to like the front rows, and I was in my Georgia shirt, and so was my buddy. And obviously my girlfriend at the time and her friends were all in Tennessee gear. And there are fans throwing cans at us even down there. They hit my girlfriend in the head and she just chews them out. And she's a Tennessee fan. And I mean, their fans are classless, man.
Yeah.
I cannot
Remind
stand.
me of Kentucky basketball fans. They're terrible. Terrible.
Yeah,
They both come from that same icky cloth.
for
All right,
sure.
Nikki, what do you got, man? Pittsburgh getting 7.5 at SMU. I don't know what to make of this line. I'm
I don't
sporting
know.
the
I
Pitt
mean, I
gear
guess
in
we
their
don't know
honor.
whether Pitt quarterback Eli Holstein, we don't really know his status. So it might be a no play, but we'll go
You're
with the under 59 and a half.
okay. In case he's hurt, you mean? Yeah, the
Right.
under's not a bad call, actually. Carter, what do you think?
I like that under as well.
You do?
Um,
Okay.
I don't know much about either of these two teams besides the fact that they both have pretty good records and Pitt's
Pitt-
undefeated, but
It's undefeated.
but I think it'll be a defensive battle.
And I'm going to take Pitt in the 7.5, man. That's a lot of points for an undefeated team. I don't care if they're on the road. SMU barely has beaten everybody, just barely, barely by 1 or 2 points. Pitt just throttled Cuse. Pitt's got an extra 3 days of rest as well, playing on Thursday. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh here going in. I don't know if they win, but I think, especially if their quarterback's out, but their Pitt's defense is pretty stout also. So
Oh
seven
yeah,
and a half points, a lot of points for an undefeated team on the road.
right.
All right, Nikki, give us the lock. Who took the pipe
Okay,
last week? Four and
following
five
last
for the
week's
year.
nightmare tragedy in Ann Arbor, we're gonna go back to the Big Ten, and we're gonna take Iowa, giving the 3 points, hosting Wisconsin.
Okay. I think that's a good pick.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very good. And then all right, so the RIP you ever heard of this guy, Gerard Mustaf? Carter?
Um, I heard of him the other day, but
Okay.
not before now.
All right, so he played at Maryland, DeMatha kid. His recruiting class pretty stout. Him, Walt the Wizard, and Brian Williams. And they're
Mm,
Right.
trying to get Mourning in that class as well. Bob Wade, right out of the
yeah.
gate with like 3 NBA players in his first recruiting class. Um, so I remember when he came to Maryland, we were in the heat of Maryland at that time, right, Nick? I mean, 88,
Yeah, that was
89, 90.
right.
We were still in College Park getting after it. So those teams did make the tournament. That first year with Gary, they should have made the tournament. They got hosed by the committee. You remember that team? They were like
Yes,
19 and 14.
right.
Gary was so pissed. It felt like he got punished for the sanctions because they dropped the sanctions right after that. So Mustaf was a first round pick, the 90 draft, 17th pick to the Knicks. Do you remember what he did in New York, Nick? Or did they like him there? What happened? Because he got
He didn't
traded
do a
like,
lot, and they shipped him west. I was trying to think. I think it was in the Xavier McDaniel trade.
okay. What I mean, they traded him after a year, right? He wasn't in there for a long time.
Yeah, one or 2 years. I think 89. Yeah, one year, 2 years tops. He was
Okay.
gone.
Then he played overseas, finished his career in 2001, that's a long time overseas, but
Right.
You know what? Those guys go overseas, they make 6, 7, 800 grand tax free, all
Right.
expenses paid. It's not a bad life, man.
No.
It
Not at
is
all.
not a bad life. I know there was a guy that played for Maryland. I can't think of his name, but he was at the math. I mean, he was a good council kid. Played at Maryland. Who was that guy, Nick? The big power forward.
Um,
Shit, I can't think of his name, but he went to Europe, and I saw him at the airport when I was heading to Europe, and he was heading back to Europe, and I asked him, I said, "What happened, man? I thought you had NBA potential." He goes, "Yo, I got offered 3 or 4 times to come back and try out," and he goes, "Why would I want to come back to be the 12th man on a team in the NBA where I'm like the number 1 star?" James Gist was his name.
that's right. Oh, he went to Providence. That's right. I remember.
Right. So Gist went over to Europe and he loved it there, man. He goes, "I love it in Europe. I make a really decent living. I'm raising my kids there. It's easy. Life's not hard there. All my money's tax free." He says it's the best. I'm glad I didn't come back to the NBA because I'm a star there, and I'm like great. And he seemed completely content. Now, obviously, you're not making the 50 million a year kind of money, but for some guys, it's better than making, the league minimum or a little bit above that. And your ego's getting stroked because you're the best player on your team. So,
Right.
maybe that's why Mustaf said he had 8 children. His son, just got recruited this year. I think he ended up at Wake Forest or NC
Georgia
State.
Tech,
Georgia
I
Tech,
think.
right. I know it's an ACC school.
Yeah.
Maryland recruited him hard, but he ended up going down there. So that's our RIP, man. I remember him playing at Maryland. I remember watching him. His dad was a bailiff at the Prince George's County Church. I mean, not church, court.
Courthouse or jail.
Yeah, the courthouse. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. His name was Shaw. I remember him just so distinctly. All right, boys, that was fun. Carter, thank you.
For
Appreciate
sure.
Carter,
your
thank you very
time.
Thank you
much.
guys. It was a great time.
Nikki, thanks for making the time as well.
Oh, my pleasure.
Let's hope that we get going, make some
Yeah,
good
let's
picks.
hope the lock of the week gets back to being a lock.
No, I think that's a good
I
pick.
like that
All
pick a
right.
lot.
Yeah, me too. I,
Thank
I
you.
I liked others, but that was a good one.
All right.
All right, boys. Thank you. Thank you, Carter.
Okay, take care. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye bye.